Morning, this is Subhashish Banerjee. Today is Teachers' Day, and once again, time to delve deep within with deeper cognizance and revive perceptions of self worth and self esteem. Well, self worth and self esteem, I do emphasize because nowadays it has become very important for the teacher to understand his or her own self worth and self esteem. This is because of the disrespect and denigration meted out by people towards teachers. Well, these are notions I have come to nurture over the years, and this is no frivolous talk. Well, to an extent, the teacher himself or herself is responsible for it. But then again, this is something rather in common, a notion, a perception that prevails amongst young minds, amongst people of other professions who take teachers for granted. The relevance of teaching needs to be understood by deciphering the concepts of teaching. Well, what exactly is teaching all about, and why have people started denigrating the profession? Nowadays, we do find whenever you ask a certain person, whether it's a pupil, a student, or any aspirant, anyone preparing for competitions, trying to seek a career, pursuing a career in a specific field, as to what he thinks about a teacher. Well, the answer that you get is rather derogatory. This has been happening, this has taken place because of the monotony of certain things which tend to snake into, which tend to peep into the perceptions of one's outlook, the perceptions of one's way of thinking as to what one thinks about a teacher as such. Well, the question arises herein whether the teacher is actually justifying his profession. Well, exceptions are always there. There are people who no doubt have taken the profession for granted. Money mongering continues unabated. There's commercialization of education, coaching institutes running relentlessly, promising hope to students, and in a manner, a lot of money is involved. But then again, there are teachers who really justify their profession. In my own college, we do have teachers, the characteristic teachers, the teachers who basically have intrinsic knowledge of their subject, who deliver the goods with the absolute precision, with the great alacrity, without even bothering about the monetary aspects of teaching. So we need to pay our obeisance, we need to pay our regards to those teachers who have been continually justifying their profession and negating those who have simply indulged in pettiness. Well, we need to pity that petty-minded lot who have just defamed the profession. Now, teaching is something which needs to be understood wholly and substantial. The main aim of education is to edify dormant minds, is to enlighten minds who have been lying dormant through the ages, through time's pages. The main aim of education is to awaken those minds. The main aim of education is to make your own points sink home. The main aim of education is to bring about a radical transformation in minds that have taken things for granted, in minds which are not ready to mold. Once you start molding those minds, what you teach, the lessons that you disseminate, those lessons, they have been justified. Well, what basically is holistic education then? Well, holistic education, the main aim of holistic education is to create a better human being as such. The main aim of holistic education is not merely to create a successful career. The main aim of holistic education, quintessential education, is to create a holistic whole, is to create an individual who is going to have a successful life as well as a successful career, because a successful career is a part of a successful life, and until and unless you create a successful life, you can't create a successful career. Technical education in the realm of science, physics, chemistry, biology, you are trying to create doctors, engineers and other professionals, managers, management professionals. Well, that's fine, but in the classroom scenario, the students need to be told about the betterment of lives. There are some ethics and moral principles which need to be taught in the classroom so as to inculcate the values of living into the hearts of the students, so as to transform the individual into a better human being, into an individual of dignity as such, because that is what the nation requires. Nation requires disciplined minds with ethics, moral principles and values, because that is what which has been deteriorating over the years, and that is why the dismal scenario prevails as far as school education and college education or even higher education is concerned. Well, the teacher himself is the learner, and the teacher needs to learn and set precedents for the pupils, for the students, which the students must imbibe, emulate, but not follow blindly, because the student needs to find out for himself or herself the reality. The main aim of education, the main aim is to create unconditioned and unprejudiced minds without any political or religious bias as such. The classroom environment is not meant to drive points home pertaining to any religious or political ideology. On the contrary, education is meant for the sake of emancipation. It is meant for the sake of setting minds unconditionally free. Well, education needs to tell the students, the learner, as to what basically is the concept of emancipation, what basically is the concept of freedom, because knowledge is meant for the sake of attaining and assimilating freedom. Now we come to those teachers, even people belonging to my own fraternity, teachers who themselves are a disgruntled lot, a disillusioned lot, and they do say that they have merely adopted the profession just because they didn't achieve anything else. They were preparing for competitions, the civil services and all that. They didn't attain success, and so finally the ultimate option was teaching. Well, I wish to tell those people who do say that they have come into the profession by mere accident, that they indeed are a lucky lot that they have taken up the profession, because they are the ones who are going to bring about a radical change. India requires teachers, good teachers, disciplined teachers, restrained teachers. That is who are the pillars of nation building. So until and unless we do have good teachers, we won't have a great nation. So the main objective of education is to acknowledge, is to realize the intrinsic worth of teaching and work hard, persevere in the field with the utmost zeal, so as to remove the ordeal The main aim of education is to teach the essence of compassion and humility, and to do away with the arrogance and pride that exists among people who do flabbergast, who do boast about their own profession. Well, why mustn't I boast about my own profession? Well, it's because this is something very, very pure. This is something very, very noble and quintessential, right to the very core. So, today, on this day, when we are celebrating another birthday of Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan, it's time to take the oath that we must dedicate ourselves to bring about something which would rejuvenate lives to a higher realm and introduce pupils, students, the people, the learners whom we are teaching into a higher realm of life. Well, call that the spiritual realm or the divine realm, but that introduction is a must. So that initiation is a must. Well, I do not believe in the concept of the guru as such, but then again, as a teacher, we are supposed to introduce them to a higher realm, which is going to basically introduce them to something which is rather holy, and as a result of which they are going to emerge more or less sterling, impeccable, and more enlightened as compared to what they were before. So that basically is the utmost function of a teacher. The teacher is supposed to lead from the front. The teacher is not supposed to repent. The teacher is not supposed to indulge in notions spent. The teacher is supposed to guide and by the laws of conviction abide. That basically is the utmost function of teaching. Happy Teachers' Day. Have a great time. Thank you.